Betrayal trauma describes the emotional impact a person experiences after their trust or well being is violated, either by people or institutions that are significant in their lives. Now, this type of trauma usually relates to primary attachment figures, and this could be anywhere from, a parent, a caregiver, or other important relationships from childhood. Now, in adulthood, it tends to repeat amongst romantic, relationships. And this is according to Sabrina Romanoff, clinical psychologist and professor at Yeshiva University. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be breaking this down in layman's terms. Now, when we're talking about betrayal trauma, in simple terms, this is literally like grieving someone who you thought that you knew, yet hasn't physically died. And this, honestly, can be one of the hardest and most traumatizing experiences to deal with as a human being. Grieving someone who you thought you knew, someone that is alive and thriving. Now, you must understand that forgiveness is key here. And one thing about forgiveness that you must understand is forgiveness is first a will before anything else. And today I'm going to be sharing 7 signs with you that you may be dealing with behavioral trauma. And the first sign I'm going to be sharing with you is one we call the fight or flight response. Just as it says, that's literally what it means. Now, do you find yourself thinking, I want to really, really fight this person and go all out and do something drastic? Or are you thinking, can I just run away, elope, and never have to see this person be in this environment ever again? Do you find yourself in this either or this kind of situation where it's 2 extremes? This could be a sign that you're dealing with betrayal trauma. Number 2 on my list is anger. You feel this surge of anger, angry that this person let you down. Okay, like they violated something sacred. It could be your trust. It could be, a relationship that you really treasured, and you just feel this burst of anger and you really struggle to let it go. This again is a sign of betrayal trauma. Number 3 is numbing. Do you find yourself, overwhelmed and constantly and desperately trying to mask this pain that you feel? Now, one thing I find with numbing is people tend to now indulge in very unhealthy coping mechanisms. You find people going into alcohol abuse, sexual immorality, different things, all in the name of, I just don't want to feel this pain. And when I do this thing, for that moment, I don't feel it. You must understand that even though for that moment, you don't feel it, afterwards, the reality is still there. And that is that you have been hurt or let down by someone you really trusted. Number 4 is lack of trust. Do you find yourself often now second guessing everyone? When someone says it's daylight, you find yourself going to the window to be sure it's daylight because you just don't trust anyone. You find yourself in relationships, and when they say I love you, instead of genuinely just listening to this person and looking at their own trail of behaviors, you're thinking, I've heard this before. And then you begin to put 1 and 2 together, finding yourself struggling to trust people. If this is you, it's a sign. Number 5 is shame. This one is very common because you find yourself feeling so full of shame. Like, how did I miss these signs? Like, you have a replay in your head of things that happened during your time with this person. And you're like, the signs were there. I could see it. But how come I didn't pick it? And, this makes you feel very silly. You begin to call yourself stupid, dumb, and all these very unkind names because you feel like you could have done something, but you didn't. Number 6 is dissociating yourself or, engaging in behaviors of dissociation. And this could be anything as little as finding yourself in actions where you're always maybe on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. You're just, whenever you start thinking of this thing or you can't sleep, instead of actually looking for healthy coping mechanisms, you find yourself just scrolling. 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and that's all you're doing. So you're detaching. Let me use, something simpler, detaching yourself from your reality. This is a sign. My next tip is avoidance, which is the last one I'm going to be sharing today. Seeing people that remind you of this person or this situation, or going to places that remind you of the occurrence that you're struggling to deal with, and you find yourself avoiding. They call you to a party. Maybe this thing happened at a party. You start giving excuses. This person has the same name as the person that hurt you, and you just can't find yourself trusting them. These are all signs of betrayal trauma. Now, I know I've been sharing signs, and you're probably thinking, am I going to die like this? Do I have to live with this trauma for the rest of my life? The good or happy or great answer is no, because we have therapeutic interventions. And as you know, I'm a counselor therapist, and this is what I specialize in, because you must understand that as human beings, we all need a safe space that allows us to really share and talk about the things that we feel. And that is why today I'm going to be giving you 3 therapeutic interventions that can actually help you to get over this betrayal trauma, because you must understand that you can't keep dragging that baggage with you. They've hurt you, they've done their worst, but you still have your whole life ahead of you. So number 1 is you need a place to vent. And as a therapist, I say to people, you need to give this person a place that allows them to talk about this issue or these issues or the betrayal as much as they need to until it's out of their system. And this is why I often advise that, listen, get a therapist, get a counselor, speak to your pastor, because these people are trained to actually help you. Because what you'll find is, you probably say, but Remy, by the time I talk to people once, twice, 3 times, they get tired. Yes, they will get tired because they are not trained to be a safe space for people to vent. Oftentimes, they're dealing with their own issues. But when you speak to a trained counselor, a therapist, a pastor who specializes in things like this, in trauma and all, you'll find that they are equipped to help you create a space where you can always talk about this thing until it's out of your system without them getting tired. Number 2 is you need to have and find a safe space to grieve the life that you thought you had with this person. I know this sounds crazy, but you must understand that as much as this person is very much alive, thriving alive, that is actually the part that hurts the most. Because the truth is, for a lot of people, it will be easier to deal with it if you knew that this person was long gone and you'll never have to deal with them. But the fact that they're alive and you're probably going to keep seeing them thriving hurts the most. But you see, you must go through the process of grieving this person like they are no more. So grieve what they did to you. Go through the process one by one. You see, there's no magic wand. Okay, we're not rushing through the process. We're not sweeping things under the carpet. We need to deal with this situation. And when I'm saying grieve, we're talking about what happened, the signs that you ignored, the thing that hurts the most about this hurt, about this betrayal, and why you are struggling so much to let it go. We talk about everything. I call it the puzzle building process, where we're scattering everything and we're rearranging it. Because one of the things that, for example, I do is I teach you how not to sweep this thing under the carpet and act like it never existed. But no, I teach you how to live around the fact that yes, I've been betrayed. Yes, betrayal happens, but it's not the end of the world. So that whenever you remember it, you're not remembering it from a place of I was so dumb. You're remembering it from a place of this was meant to kill me, but I overcame it. You remember it not from a place of pain, but from a place of victory. I hope you get what I mean. My third and final tip for therapeutic intervention is one we call the humanistic therapy approach, which is literally letting you talk through it. And it's very similar to point 1 and 2. But now we're asking questions like, is this the first time you've been betrayed in this way? If not, how many times? Because we need to know, is it a pattern? Is it something that you are allowing people to do to you? Are you unintentionally ignoring the red flags that you see? This helps us to pinpoint and, put a track on how these things happened so that it can help us to create healthy coping strategies to help you avoid this again. So that when something like this is about to happen, your antennas are up and you're able to effectively deal with this. Ladies, this is where I'm going to be ending today's video, and I really do hope that you have learned more than a thing or two actually. If this is the case, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Don't keep it to yourself. And remember, if you are going through betrayal trauma, it's not the end of the world. There is always a way out. But the worst thing you can do is to be in denial and act like it never happened. Thank you, and I'll see you at my next one. Bye-bye.